Hello everyone and welcome back to Affinity for Commander. My name is Alex and today we're going to be taking a look at the best new legendary tribal commander, Dihada, Binder of Wills. Just before we get into that though, as always, if you'd like to purchase any of the cards I'm going to be talking about here or even the full deck list, then be sure to do so through any of our lovely affiliate links in the description box below. It doesn't cost you anything extra and really helps the channel out a lot. Now, let's take a look at our legendary commander. Alex, all commanders are legendary? Shut up. Dihada, Binder of Wills is a legendary planeswalker for 1 generic, 1 red, 1 black, and 1 white. She enters with 5 loyalty and reads. +2, up to 1 target legendary creature gains vigilance, lifelink, and indestructible until your next turn, and that bit is quite important. Her -3 is reveal the top 4 cards of your library, put any number of legendary cards from amongst them into your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Create a treasure token for each card put into your graveyard this way. And finally, -11, gain control of all non-land permanents until the end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until the end of turn. So Dihada, as her precon would suggest, is all about the legends, with her +2 granting them a slew of impressive keywords until our next turn, so they retain them until we untap again, and her -3 being able to grab more and more of them from the top of our library. And quite importantly, these are legendary cards, not just creatures, so artifacts, enchantments, and lands also get put into our hand with her -3 ability. Or, in the unfortunate circumstance where we just draw nothing but plain lands, then we get some treasure tokens to make up for it, so we can cast bigger and more impactful legends a lot sooner than we should. Now let's take a look at the deck our Will Bender will be leading. First off, and one of the best reasons to run this deck at all, is we get to play Yoshimaru the Ever Faithful, and get the most value out of this cute little pupper. At the 2-drop slot, we've also got a couple of legendary creatures as well, in Anafenza, Kintree Spirit, who will bolster our board whenever we play a creature, and Goro Goro is a great haste enabler, who can also act as a good mana sink later in the game, especially as we'll be modifying our creatures with Anafenza and others' abilities. We've also got some legendary equipment in the form of Sword the Animus to ramp us when we attack, and the Blackblade Reforged will be taking full advantage of those lands, as well as a cheaper equip cost. Now, ideally we'd be ramping on turn 2, playing a legendary creature on turn 3, and then playing Dihada, and +2ing her on that creature, thus generating us a life-linking indestructible blocker who can also swing and not have to tap to do so. And make no mistake, this is an important game strategy, as Dihada's -11 is in of itself a fantastic win con, and even if we don't go for it, being able to give our creatures a slew of keywords and draw probably what will be 4 cards a turn with her ability is quite frankly a win con of itself, as we bury our opponents in massive amounts of value. So cards like Damn can get rid of any problematic creatures threatening our commander, or just get rid of the board as a whole, and Fracture destroys any other problematic permanents that happen to not be creatures. We are also obviously missing green, so have to rely a lot on artifact ramp. For this deck we're running the talismans rather than the signets. Talismans of Hierarchy, Conviction, and Indulgence. After all, we should be giving a lifelink to 1 creature and swinging with it every turn, so an odd point of damage from the talismans shouldn't hurt us that much. Moving on to the 3-drop slot, we've got the bulk of our block of legendary creatures. From the precon themselves, Verak Warped Sengi already has a ton of keywords, and is also a great means of doubling up our fetch lands, and any other time we would pay life for an ability. Thalia, Heretic Cathar, slows down our opponents with any hasty creatures they might have, and the first strike helps dissuade any attackers. Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, gives an additional 1/1 attacker and serves as a good blocker with their own bout of vigilance. Drana, Liberator Malakia, helps us get in hits in the air and buffs our team with some helpful +1/+1 counters. And Judith the Scourge Diva herself buffs our team, as well as giving a nice damage dealing effect to ping off any 1 toughness creatures, or just hit someone in the face that's angered our Squid Lady. And a great way to bring back all of these lovely legends is Alicia who smiles at death. Vigilance and Indestructible means we get to do Alicia's ability and hold her first striking body up as a good blocker after combat. Now we should be hopefully gaining a good amount of life with attacking each turn with Dihada out. So for more life-changing action, Kambal, Council of Allocation, drains our opponents for 2 for the goal of playing non-creature spells. And we've also got Veto, or Thorn of the Dusk Rose, to take full advantage of any life gain. Who is honestly quite a powerhouse in this deck, where we should be attacking with a life linker every single turn. And to help double up on these triggers, we have the new card, the Peregrine Dynamo, who can double our Legends triggers, like Veto or even Alesha, to bring back 2 creatures at the same time. Now we've also got a few legendary artifacts for 3 mana as well. Reaver Cleaver is a great new card that is going to be generating us a ton of treasures when we're attacking. Oketra's Monument makes all of our white creature spells 1 generic cheaper, but more importantly, whenever we cast a creature spell of any colour, we get a 1/1 to throw in front of any bus that comes at Dihada. And Tenza Goda's Maul gives any of our legends a nice +3/+3 buff, and if that creature happens to be red, then they get to add Trample to the long list of keywords they'll be granted. And with us gaining life thanks to Dihada, we get to abuse Black's great draw power, because losing life doesn't really matter to us. Read the Bones and Painful Truths are 2 of my favourite means of drawing cards in black. And the new Baldur's Gate card, Black Market Connections, just means we get to have a treasure and an extra card for a meager 3 life. Galloping into our 4-drop slot, a great reprint in the Commander deck itself is Day of Destiny. An enchantment we can get with Dihada's minus ability, and gives a double anthem effect to all of our legendary creatures. Another great enchantment we can grab is Whip of Erebos. This amazing artifact grants all of our creatures lifelink and is able to whip back any of our downed legendaries from the grave. Back onto our legendary creatures, however, we're also running Gerard, Weatherlight Captain, as a means of having some security in case someone decides to play a board wipe. Chainer, Nightmare Adept lets us cast any creatures from our bin by discarding a card that we just don't need right now. Tashar, Ancestor's Apostle, is honestly going to be such a strong card here, as most of our spells are historic, and being able to get back our Judith or Thalia for free is very powerful, especially since this isn't just limited to once a turn. We also have Bruce Tall, Boorish Herder. Beyond being one of the most handsome hunks of beef, is being a great card for being able to grant double strike to any of our creatures and more lifelink just in case that creature wasn't targeted by Dihada. And the last creature at the 4-drop slot is Cardor Doomscourge, because he is honestly just funny, especially if you get to whip him back with Erebos' Whip for another turn and another round of goading. And one of the new legends from Dihada's own precon is Shanid, Sleeper Scourge, who not only grants menace, but also draws a card each time we play a legendary land or cast a legendary spell. Which is awesome that Legendary Tribal gets its own Beast Whisperer, which also triggers for lands, so is arguably better. Moving on up to the 5-mana slot, we've got Arvid the Curse from the deck, as he literally gives us double anthem effect of Day of Destiny, but he himself also has Death Touch and Lifelink. Karlach, Fury of Avernus, is also a card I find works super well in giving us an additional combat, as that creature may have already been targeted by Dihada and still has their keywords, so will still be a vigilant, indestructible lifelinker and first striking legend. And now we get to our only non-legendary creature. I know, but they do fetch a legend in Thalia's Lancers. They themselves also have First Strike, but can't be subject to Dihada's first ability. But you can't put a price on good tutoring. Well, okay you can, but it's still a good card. At 5 mana we also have our first few legendary sorceries. Cards that can be only cast if we have a legend on the battlefield. So, not really an issue for us. Urza's Ruinous Blast exiles all non-legends, so can often just serve as a one-sided board wipe for 5 mana, which is quite frankly a bargain. And Yawgmoth's Vile Offering allows for reanimation of any creature from any graveyard, and also destroys any big issue on the battlefield. Now, at the tippity top of our curve, we've got our last 3 legendary creatures in the card advantage King of Etali Primal Storm, the anthem-granting and token-killing loveliness that is Elish Norn, Grand Cenobite, and finally what could be gingerly considered our win con in Gisela, Blade of Gold Knight. We are going to be attacking to win, and doubling the damage opponents receives is a great means of ending the game a lot quicker. Speaking of increasing our damage, we also get to flash in Embercleave, a legendary equipment that can help get that good old trample damage in, even when someone's declared a block. And the final card that I want to talk about before we get to the lands is another legendary sorcery, and that is Primeval's Glorious Rebirth. A card that genuinely cannot wait to be cast with a full bin to be able to put every creature that's ever died for us back onto the battlefield, ready for a massive swing next turn. Now, onto the lands for this deck. Normally I don't take that much time talking about them, there's usually 2 or 3. But considering Dihada's -3 is legendary cards, not just lands, we want to make the most out of this. So we're going to be running a lot of legendary mana producing permanents, otherwise known as lands. Starting off, we have the cycle of lands from the newest Kamigawa set, Eiganjo, Seat of the Empire, Sokuzen, Crucible of Defiance, and Takenuma, Abandoned Maya, which, given that 99% of our creatures are legendary, their channel abilities should be costing around only 1 coloured mana apiece. And from the original Kamigawa, we also have Eiganjo Castle, Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep, and Shizo Death Storehouse. Now, the Storehouse is firstly a great reprint that comes in the precon itself, but the other 2 as well can help save one of our legends in combat, and Shinka, granting First Strike, can just make for some fun combat trickery. Unterdake, the Cloud Keeper, does a great budget impression of Ancient Tomb, if only for legendary spells, but that's most of the deck, so it does work out. And finally we've got Phyrexian Tower for the option to sacrifice some of the tokens that Akedra's Monument is making, and Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth for both fixing and because, you know, it's a legendary land. Overall, Dihada is definitely my favourite out of the 2 precons, definitely straight out of the box at least, as well as probably the cards themselves. Yes, she has to be built very narrowly in the terms of legendary tribal, but that's fine, legendaries are good cards. And the fact that her +2 gives those keywords until our next turn means that she's been designed to have them on the battlefield and become blockers for her to keep her around. Very much bending their wills. Good card design, good flavour win. Meanwhile, her -3 just serves as a fantastic means of card draw, especially considering it grabs any legendary permanent. From this, we could grab an Urborg, an Embercleave, and a Thalia from it. It doesn't have to be just creatures, which most tend to be. And then finally, we've got that -11 ability, which, unless you've just board wiped, may as well just say win the game on it. Getting all permanents, all equipment, all artifacts and enchantments, yeah, that's going to at least kill definitely 1 person. And if not, just keep it up. Use it as a threat. Just keep churning through your library and keep hitting in for that life-linking damage. Either way, you're still probably in a commanding position. Yes, Dihada is definitely one of my favourite Planeswalker commanders. Very good design, very flavourful, very powerful, and definitely who I would pick to hit any legendary tribal commander deck. And that'll be it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Tell me, what legendary spells are you excited to put in Dihada's Night Time? Let me know in the comments below. We read every single one of them. As always, this content and all content on Affinity for Commander is brought to you by our fabulous patrons. Without you guys, we would not be able to continue making videos like this, so thank you. If you yourself would like to support the channel directly through Patreon, I will link in the description box below, and you get access to exclusive EDH related rewards. You can also support the channel in some other ways as well, by liking this video, subscribing to the channel for more content just like it, or even just following us on your preferred social media platform. But that's it from me, guys. As always, I have been Alex, and I will see you next time.